look out there, I didn't see her yet.
Oh, yeah, I need to work on my chair anyway. This county might have to step up and buy me a new
I'll
chair.
say that chair somehow, it was over here, now it's over there.
Hey, that's not you.
This one was, I mean, this one was 60, so, I don't know. I'm not sure why they're different chairs, I have no idea. But it is what it is. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the November 9th meeting of the Preston County Commission. And if everyone please stand at this time for the pledge of allegiance.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Just let the record show that Commissioner Price and Commissioner Smith are here. Commissioner Stain had a little emergency this morning. Hopefully she'll be able to join us here shortly. I know we do have someone. Did you wish to speak, sir?
No, Dave is taking care of my call.
Okay, no problem. I just want to make sure because I know you're here and it's not like that.
Let me clarify what Mike's question, so that if anybody else has that question. He was worried that the $3,000 that we give the fire departments and the newspaper article said that we hadn't done that. Wanted to make sure that wasn't levy money that they had voted on. That was, that was kind of like the donation we try to give every year, and we just haven't yet because we didn't know how much money we'd have until now. We're still not sure. But anyway,
Yeah.
that was it. Levy goes straight to the fire department.
Yeah, we don't have any, we can't
Change that.
That goes
It's
into
law. But
a
that's-
special account.
That was good. I hadn't thought about the confusion that might cause. But anyway, that's it, Mike.
All right. At this time, it brings us down to our first appointment, and that is with Miss Amanda Fitzer and the Friends of Chief, Mr. Custer Funding.
Good
Amanda.
morning. Good morning, gentlemen. Commissioners, you do have some documents that,
Yeah, I saw, I kind of glanced through them a little bit.
say, if anybody, I
Sent
do
the
have
email.
the same copy,
Yeah.
if anybody needs it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep it brief today. I do have two of our team members with me that know the ins and outs of these projects that, we're presenting, but
Mhm.
a couple months ago, when, last time I was here, I think we were asking for a support letter, and at that time, we did not have any, I guess, timely needs. And of course, as time passes and the cost of everything continues to go up, we do have some needs that we think are appropriate to bring to the commission at this time. We're gonna outline 3 small, projects. I think collectively, the total ask, is $82,000. Of course, we'd like you to consider each of these independently of each other. And I'll let Owen and Madison explain, the individual asks, but I do wanna, point out that in my 10 years at Preston Chief, I've come here and I've asked for a lot of things, but I've never once asked for money. I think many people might not know that. And this year, going into 2022, we are seeing our budget double. We have a total revenue projected of $3.7 million. And over 3 million of that will come in and go out of the organization to other businesses, contractors, across the region and across the country. Our payroll this year will be $317,000. We just added our 6th full-time person. We're in a really good position to keep implementing these projects with success, and we could use your help to carry some of these over the finish line. With this support, Friends of the Chief will be able to do a couple other things in 2022, including buy also a very now expensive second car. So with that, I'm going to introduce Owen. He's our Associate Director, and he's going to talk to you about the 2 recreation and access projects.
Good luck buying that second car if you find it.
I know, keep it, yeah, send your auto trader alerts to us.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner, for having us here. My name's Owen Maltine. I'm the Associate Director. Been working with Friends of the Chief about 8 years and oversee our recreation and river access program. And the 2 requests we have are part of that program. And the first one is our Trailhead project, which we have kind of a nice graph right here. This is our part of our larger rail trail project, the 8-mile rail trail that's going to be along the Cheat River between Rollsburg and Kingwood. And the Trailhead is a piece of property that we own, the former Preston site preparation plant. We have West Virginia DP AML funding to construct the infrastructure, utilities, lighting, and then kind of rerouting some of the earthwork there. But we also have a West Virginia DOH recreational trails grant that is going to pay for some actual facilities, and that's what we're asking here today is $12,000 to as match money for this $247,000 DOH grant. And that grant is going to pay for a pavilion, which will be in the honor of Keith Pitzer, a bathroom, a restroom, and a concession stand. So we have, Friends of Cheat has already given $37,000 in our own cash money from a memorial fund. We're asking the commission for $12,000 to kind of bring that across the finish line. And we have $750,000 from the AML fund to construct. Additionally, we're kind of in that same vein of kind of community projects. We're asking for $10,000 for our Cheat River Festival ground stage roof. We're looking to kind of save that structure. It's in desperate need of some improvements, and the roof will drastically save the stage floor along with other kind of crucial components of that stage. FOC will do the construction. We may hire a local roof installer. We already have all the kind of like floodplain coordination going on there with the Preston County floodplain coordinator. Again, we're hoping to have Cheat Fest in 2022 in person, live, in the flesh. So we're looking to have that stage roof up before then, so construction would happen during this, late March, April timeframe. So timely donations there for those projects. Again, the Trailhead project will go out to bid in first half of 2022. So again, a public bid project for this. The stage roof is a kind of in-house project. And then I guess I have any questions about those projects before I turn it over to Madison.
No, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, we've got the match information here and everything you just went over in the photo. It's almost $1 million project.
It is, yeah, the Trailhead is, and again, the trail project is another major component of that. Without the trailhead just becomes like a river access parking lot kind of situation. The trail is a $2 million project, which will also go out to bid next year. So again, one piece of a larger pie there for the trailhead. And then again, your donation, your support is another smaller piece of that larger pie. I'll turn it over to Madison. You can talk about another project we have.
Hi everyone, I'm Madison Ball. I'm the Restoration Program Manager at Friends of the Cheat, and we are working towards the removal of the Albright Power Station Dam, which you may be familiar with. Right now we are in a feasibility study and preliminary design, which includes a 30% design. We've secured about 2/3 of what we need to complete this phase of the study, so $125,000. We are still seeking an additional $60,000 to complete this phase. This is considered the most difficult phase to fund is this design phase. We have secured additional funds up to $400,000 to date for construction, our personnel time and administration time to manage this project, but we are still seeking that 1/3 for the preliminary design. And that really is to implement a very thorough, critical piece of the study, which includes looking into all alternatives, including not removing the dam. We really want to make sure we're doing our due diligence with this phase and make sure that it has a very strong foundation before moving on to other phases of the project. And while we know that this will have great ecological benefits to the Cheat River, we also want to highlight that opening this piece of the river to recreational access will also help the local recreation economy and eliminate a huge risk to the town of Albright as the structure ages. It's over 70 years old. It's only going to get older, and it's no longer, it's no longer meeting its original purpose for what it was intended to do with it, why it was built. And it also it cannot provide any flood mitigation or flood control. It's not a flood control dam. It could actually exacerbate those conditions if we were to see, an extreme event. So with that, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. We also brought these booklets that explain a little bit more about the project and where we're at. Amanda has those. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And otherwise, I'll pass it back to Amanda to wrap up.
I guess I don't have anything else to add other than thank you guys for your consideration. We have, stacks of supplemental information on top of what we shared with you today. We tried to keep it simple. And good luck in your sorting out all these funding requests. And again, I think one thing that may come up is just the timing. So we did include in that handout when those needs really kind of like the last kind of time we could use those funds. So if anything changes, for example, Madison is always and Owen are always seeking other funding requests. If anything changes, we'll let you know. But at this time, we appreciate you. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys. All right. I'm gonna bring us down to our next appointment, and it's Rochelle Thorne, Executive Director of the Charlotte Recreation. Request for chairs.
Thank you. Good morning. I wanted to come before the commission today to ask for a timeline when we might know if we'll receive CARES or ARP funding. We had submitted a few funding requests towards West Virginia Northern Rail Trail, Trailhead Park projects for your consideration. I believe it was in July. Basically, during the pandemic, we had experienced increased usage on the Kingwood end of the West Virginia Northern Rail Trail, as some of you might have noticed.
Yes.
As a result, we feel that we need to invest in Trailhead Park improvements to accommodate this increased usage. So our proposed improvements would be a restroom, lighting, some covered outdoor recreational spaces, so that, like such as pavilions, so that our COVID-safe kind of outdoor recreational program such as Wellness in the Park, won't be like weather dependent. So Wellness in the Park is a fun program to run, but it involves me having to constantly monitor the weather to see if it's going to be rained out or anything like that. So it just would be nice. I mean, COVID, regardless of COVID, it would just be nice to have those kind of spaces so that our programming is always, I guess, available regardless of the weather. So that's for the Kingwood end. But looking at the increased usage on the Kingwood end, it makes it really kind of hard to ignore the fact that the southern end could greatly use an improved trail surface and a trailhead park, so that the town of Tunnelton could also have some COVID-safe outdoor recreational opportunities. So that's basically, that just kind of sums up where what our requests were about. They're for our trailhead park improvements, they're for COVID-safe recreational spaces and programming that would happen there. And so funding any of these projects, all of them, part of them, we feel that any of these outdoor recreational projects will mitigate the impact of COVID-19 and any future viruses we might have. They'll reduce socioeconomic health disparities. They'll boost our county's tourism and economic development, all of which are eligible and prioritized under the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan. So I guess on behalf of PC Park, we really appreciate your consideration of our requests, your continued support of our projects. If you have any questions, then you can ask them.
I don't, because you guys spelled out everything quite nicely.
Okay.
So I know what each
Yeah.
thing, because you kind of like, for instance, you gave us 3 projects and said, here,
Yes.
please consider each individually, so that if this is too much, but this is okay.
Well, that and also things can be modified. I mean, you know, we definitely are always looking for input from you all, from the community. Any funding would be greatly appreciated, and slightly. So,
Great. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. All right, that brings us down to Ms. Jennifer Lewis, the Chief Tax Deputy. Oh, the tax sale.
Well, I brought the list with me today of everything we sold at the tax sale. We had more properties than we had in a long time.
Okay.
A lot of mineral rights went this year, coal especially. I asked other counties, and it sounds like that was pretty much the consensus across West Virginia, is that most of the mineral rights was what was up for sale this year. We did our best to try to get everybody in as much as we could. We sent out my letters in April, and we post everything on social media, and we post in the paper, which is required by state code. We sent our certifieds out, which was required by state code. But we had a slow week, the week before the sale, which has never happened. We also have the drop box out front, where we encourage people to try to drop off their payments, even if they're dropping off their certified or money orders, and we didn't really have anybody do that this year. So I think a lot of this is just mineral rights, and people are just tired of paying for them. I had several people call and say that they didn't want to pay for their mineral rights. We didn't have anybody to sell in Brandonville or Preston, so I'm so excited about that.
Oh,
But that's everything that we sold at the sale, and that will be published in the paper. And just wanted to give it to you for your review. And
So smaller?
no, my sale is bigger this year. Most of the things that were on the sale list were mineral rights. We had a few changes to the sale this year, and we're continuing to have it down at the 911 center because it's an open air space and we can get a lot more people in there.
right.
We had a good amount of bidders. I feel like we had 63 or so.
I saw a bunch of different names there, and there's like,
Yeah.
I mean, some of them were just buying multiple.
And we've had a lot more interest this year with people who've never been.
Mhm.
So I kind of feel like people are starting to get more interested in buying property this way, or at least attempting to buy property this way.
I think the realtors have experienced that.
Well, we do have a realtor that comes up from, well, I don't know, he is the realtor, but he owns Red Oak Realty, and he comes to our sale. And I think maybe every other sale in West Virginia, he comes up here from Pocahontas County, and he does put a lot of money into our sale. So
That's good.
anyway, I just need that approved so that I can put it into the paper.
Okay,
Um,
so do I have a motion to approve this, I guess, the tax lien sale sold list?
Yes.
So moved.
All right,
How's that?
and I'll second that. Commissioners Price?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Jennifer.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for the update. All right. Brings us down to Ms. Connie. The assessor will change in quote for CARES funding request.
This sounds
I
rather
guess something
trivial.
changed, although you were asking for.
Well, I, have some papers for you here. I didn't get them sent out to you beforehand. There was a change in quote, from IT9 Share for the laptops. And I mean, it amounts to I have subtracted out there for you, $128.70.
Okay.
Which seems rather insignificant, but we're going through a time of seeing increased price charges for all of our things. Paper costs have gone up when we're talking about sending out our mailings, and that comes at the end of the year. So I can't overstep my budget at this point. So I was just asking for $130 to take care of the cases that are necessary for those laptops.
No.
Okay, we had approved the,
Purchase and everything else, so it's just.
Right, it's
just
just
an
a
additional-
difference in the quote.
Then we'll need to change our. Okay. So $130 you're asking for?
Yes. Thank you.
it's,
All right.
We have some other cares, things to talk about. So
Yeah.
Let's include this, we just don't want to forget it.
Right. Okay. All right, let's go back up here to review the bills. Do I have a motion to approve bills?
I move that we, pay the bills that are properly presented and approved.
I'll second that. Motion for a second to pay the approved bills. Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes. Technical correction. Brings us to PIVs.
I move we, approve the, proceedings and vacation from the clerk, that will be from October 28th to November 3rd, 21.
Second.
Yes.
Commissioner Price? Yes. The state settlements.
We have, two estate settlements from, the county clerk's office, will be Bauer, Master, and Hines. I move we approve those.
Second that. Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes.
And the minutes of October 19th.
We don't have them.
Okay,
We can't approve this.
then I'm not gonna approve.
Yeah, Dee Dee told me right before. I didn't think we got an email to us, but she confirmed that this morning, so.
Sorry.
We'll have to wait on that.
But we have.
All right.
Good morning. And we'll talk about here.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good. All right. Tell you what, I'm gonna skip this the CARES funding thing for a moment and go to the administrator's report, if you don't mind, Kathy. That way we can bring Commissioner Stein up to speed a little bit. Give her a moment to catch her breath here.
The first update we have is on your Preston flood recovery project. And we let a bid to Loretta for that project. A couple of things. One is the Conservation Agency and I had a conference call yesterday, and they were to start tomorrow. However, there is a piece of equipment I think that needs to be moved in, so it looks like they're going to start Thursday. Even though that is a holiday, we're going to begin work that day. The Conservation Agency will be the project manager on that. One other item is we may need to have one change order. That would be, this will change the amount we pay the contractor, but it's absorbed by the state. It doesn't tip over the threshold that the state will reimburse you for. It was the need for, and I don't even want to speculate, some kind of backhoe or something that it looks like they're going to need. We will be in contact. Ross from Conservation Agency and Nick are working together to notify all those property owners of when we're going to be. We'll try to do it the best we can in the 14 days. It just may back it up by a couple of days. We're ready to begin that. We have great weather, so hope to get that done and move forward with that. They'll give us a report at the end. He's clerking that job, so he'll be up there the whole time they're working. Any questions on that? Okay, update on the maintenance projects. I don't know if you noticed, they're putting the roof on the drive-through this morning. So that's one that we'll be able to say is done. Also, there is a new date, or now a date for the look at the TV in the courtroom. I sent you all a notice of that meeting.
I won't be able to make that meeting.
That's okay.
Because I have to meet with the auditor for the solid waste story at the same time.
That's fine. Just wanted to alert you that that is now on the schedule with the engineer, with the Supreme Court, with the judge. It's at 10 a.m. on the 16th, so hopefully we'll have resolutions to everybody's satisfaction that day, and we'll be able to accommodate the judge there. So that's next Tuesday. We do have a work session beginning at 10:30 this morning on redistricting. Also, I hope to, we're starting a sort of a wintertime project with the mowing season ending. We're going to start doing inventory on items that we're either going to discard as no longer usable, or we're going to place on Gov Deals to auction them off. We're gonna do all storage locations from the courthouse to the buildings over at 911 to the basement, and we're going to move things along as much as we can. We just really need to tidy some stuff up. It's a good winter time. We are going to start a new process that we are tagging every item with the date of the last time it was perused, I guess you would say. So that if someone new comes down, they can see, well, that property's been here for a year, it's not even being used, we need to move that along. Our date is annual, so that we actually have a system that things don't kind of get lost down there for years and years, and we're just gonna move that stuff along. So we're gonna start that, we hope to start that well, probably not until December 1st, because we've got some holidays and things coming on, and some vacation time. So Danny and Mark and I will be working on that. Also, I hope to meet with the sheriff, and he and I are going over to the buildings just to make sure that we'll accommodate him in any way that we can to, we want to handle this stuff one time. So if it stays, fine. If it's junk, it goes in to be disposed of, and everything will be tagged.
Good.
So
There's no
that's
reason to keep moving it back and forth or.
well, we just want to handle it as
Yeah.
one time. You know, and that hopefully will give us a better idea. I'll need the cooperation of office holders in there's some areas that are restricted out, like the circuit clerk has an area that's restricted out. The county clerk has storage at places. We wouldn't disturb anything like that, but we'd be happy to assist them if there's anything that they need with their retention schedule. We may have to get some shredding done from an outside group to keep that stuff moving. So that's our plan for that. Meeting with, I can't believe I'm even saying that, but as we approach the new year, that means that we'll be meeting again with all contractors to prepare for the budget. So trying to put those things together as well. So that's your maintenance update. Any question on that? To best of my knowledge, there are no budget revisions? Oh, you have budget revisions?
Yes.
Okay, get up.
I'll say I hadn't seen it.
I know, and what has happened is, I'm presenting this for our prosecutor, Jay Shea.
Okay.
And he's not been here, we've been communicating by email, and and I'm sorry, I'll share this with all of you, but I didn't even bring copies, so, that he wants to increase, he has a part-time temporary employee that he's going to increase some there. And he wants to take from his overtime line item, $1,000, which is in there. And from 219, which is,
Rents.
yes, rent, equipment rents, a total of $2,200. And some of that, $2,039 will go into 03, which is salary line item, and part into FICA and retirement.
Or is he increasing somebody?
He is increasing the part-time employee, the
Stacy?
The number of hours.
No.
Oh, no, the actual amount of
Well-
money paying them. Okay.
He's increasing her salary. I don't know about the hours.
Okay, okay.
So he
All right,
didn't
okay.
have it in what we allocated.
no, because that is more for his full-time.
Okay, so he's pulling it from other things.
Yes.
So will do you know, will he have enough money then to cover any overtime
this is-
and rent and all those things? Because there's no
Yes,
money
yes,
to
he
give
has,
him additional
yeah.
money.
He took like $1,200 from the rent.
Mhm.
And the overtime in 08
Okay.
is where he would go to often to compensate Stacy anyway. So
Okay.
he's just putting it all.
Okay.
in one.
Okay.
And I verified all the money was there. I'm
From
sorry,
the-
one copy.
Her grant has been,
I do have some news on that.
Now, the state,
Now, this is beyond,
yeah,
this
the
is not her
state
grant.
actually covered this
So,
different.
This is coming from the prosecuting attorney's budget.
Mhm.
The grant, which we had, to the best of my knowledge, is I got a letter yesterday approving their grant in the amount of $34,000, I think, and some change. However, that was 23% less than what it was this current year. Now, my understanding from the two letters are that the state of West Virginia is going to cover that 2/3. What we're waiting to figure out is how we're going to incorporate paying her. We have to develop two budgets, one for the grant and one for this lump sum money. So, I haven't had a chance to talk to Linda about it, and Stacy needs to develop her two budgets, and then we'll go from there. Right now, the county commission has been paying that because the grant has been up in the air. You'll still have a match, we'll just take from what you're already given as the match. So, we just got the letters yesterday, and I haven't even gotten a chance to talk to Stacy, but we'll have to develop two budgets.
Yeah, I saw the email from Stacy about the 23%.
That's why
the
she's
state was
not
gonna
here
pick up,
today,
so.
because we have a resolution. We just have to figure out the budgeting side and the payroll side.
So I'm sorry you weren't given much notice about the budget revision.
That's okay.
It was kind
Nah,
we were communicating in passing.
well, that situation, that's probably because they kind of found out late in the week anyway about the,
Well, this is,
Well, that has
the
nothing
grant,
to do with
this
the
has nothing to do with grant.
Oh, I know it doesn't, but it still affects
Well, yeah.
how they're paying her. I mean,
I just wanted to make sure that they understand if we approve a budget revision to go in salaries, that's forever.
yeah,
Well,
And so there will not be any other funding that can go into rent and the other areas that he's pulling it from.
well, he can explain, you know.
That's fine, that's fine.
You mentioned the word temporary in this.
I did, I mentioned.
Not here, but when you were talking about a temporary employee.
Is it part-time?
Oh,
It's
well.
not,
She's not.
Oh,
she's a
no,
part-time.
she's not temporary. Well,
Maybe
she's
I meant to
temporary as long as they
say
get
the
the
money is
grant.
coming out of 08, which is overtime.
Mhm.
If I said temporary, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, that's why I
Something
wondered.
different than I was thinking.
We do
I
this a
didn't mean
year at
temporary
a
at
time. Her salary is set a year at a time, so, you
in
know,
a sense, she is.
next year could be a whole different ballgame,
Yeah.
depending on how the funding goes. But, I mean, I'm okay with doing this. So,
As far as I know, that's the only budget revision you have.
I move we approve it.
Second.
Motion on the floor and a second to approve the budget revision. Commissioner Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Stan.
Yes.
And since that's the only one I have, can I just make sure it gets up here in the mailbox and stated? Thank you.
That's what I'm getting ready to do right now. All right.
Okay, the next under miscellaneous correspondence, as you know, we had made the budget revision last week to continue to do the audits, and you've given permission to move forward those. These are basically just the engagement letter, the management letter, the litigation, and the taxpayer information that comes to the assessor for her to provide to the auditor for the years 21, which is a single audit, and 20, which is a regular audit. And I just asked the president. That's really housekeeping. It's just the management letters.
Okay.
So a motion needed?
No.
That's what
It's just the management letters. You've already approved the audits. Okay, let's see what else I've got. I did provide to you this morning, information. You had asked me, I'm sorry, Commissioner, can we move to the CARES or?
Yes, actually, yeah, because we're done with that, so let's move back to CARES. I was just trying to give Samantha time to catch her breath
I'm
here.
fine, I'm good.
So you're good.
You had tasked me with, coming up with, workers' compensation figures for the agencies, that, had requested or are producing documents for that. You can see the first one is union in the amount of 2649. However, I, just for your consideration, because we had always given $3,000, just not to go below that, I figured the amount for you to consider at $3,000 for them, since that had been an allocation that we had given in the past. But you can do it either way. Their amount is $2,649. So because we had given $3,000 in the past to each group, I didn't go below that. Rollsburg is $4,228. Camp Ambulance is $27,087. Brewston was $18,977. Terrata was $18,744 for a total of $72,036. This is for a year, calculated on the year, and the year was 2020 at their request. So that's your workers' comp. Like I said, I just upped that a little bit because it was under the $3,000 which you'd given in the past.
Right, and well, and historically, in my time anyway, we've always done 3,000 per ambulance.
Correct.
And in my mind, I thought anything that we do would be in addition to the 3,000 that we were giving, because the 3,000 we were giving was I am responding, correct?
No, ma'am.
No,
I am responding is separate and apart. I am
It is, you're right.
responding,
But
I'm
that is
responding.
3,000 also.
No, ma'am. It's about $12,000, but I am responding goes far beyond just EMS.
Right,
It goes to fire, and
Police and
so
everything.
that you gave July 1, that's already been allocated.
So we had given 3,000 to each EMS.
No, ma'am. We have given nothing to, we have
Not
funded,
this year.
I am responding
I'm talking,
in the past.
right,
We did, I am responding in 3,000.
right.
That's correct. That's correct. One other note, you do not see Tunnelton. We were provided a letter saying that as of November the 2nd, Tunnelton was no longer providing service. So since this allocation came following that decision, they are not included since they will not be operating.
Did anyone get a chance to speak with Tunnelton about his letter?
I have not.
Just, the commission did not encourage or recommend Tunnelton
No, we did not.
to shut down, and that was what it indicated in the letter, and so I just wanted to make clarity there.
I don't, it's an email exchange, you know, I was part of, I don't recall ever a conversation with Tunnelton indicating that the commission's desire was one way or the other.
Right.
I mean, Dave has been communicating with them a lot more than I have, but for your calculation purposes, since they are no longer
Right.
operating, I didn't
Right.
include their workers' compensation.
Very good.
So the 3,000 is totally up to you all. I just did it because of historical data that we have given them that in the past.
Right.
So then you also had a request for, I'm sorry, how much was it? $130 from Connie. She wanted to up her things by $130
My quote changed.
because she
Yeah,
needed
quote
cases
changes
for
on
her
some of that.
laptops.
Okay.
That's what it was.
So I do not have that in here. I'll be happy to modify the sheet
No, that's
for you.
fine.
What
I
I'm
mean,
trying to do for you is, each time you give an allocation, I put it in yellow so that you can see that the total amount of allocations you give it. Now, remember, these are allocations. That doesn't mean you have paid for all of this.
Right.
I will tell you, in the bill box today is the purchase of the vehicle.
Mhm.
So when these things are paid for and move
Mhm.
out of the stream, then I will change this to a different color, so you know what's been paid for and what hasn't. Also, you will have, there is a voucher to cover the items that you mentioned. I don't have anything for Connie yet because I don't have invoices from you, but anything that I got an invoice for, I got an invoice from Linda to do a reimbursement for her cable.
Okay.
There were her people, you have given her 2 positions, and the request is about $33,000 is in your bill box
Mhm.
today. Then your budget revision will follow next week, which will cover her 2 temporary positions that you gave her. One was for her office, one was for her, elections.
Right.
And then there was some administrative costs that you absorbed, and also the table. And then as these things move along, the people have to be paid for in a budget. Items are being paid for by an invoice. So you'll see an invoice for your cars, but anything that has to do with people or a purchase that we're reimbursing, and to the best of my knowledge, that table will be the only one. Because Connie hasn't received her items yet, we haven't been billed for those yet, the other items that Linda had requested, and the tasers, we do not have yet. Yes, ma'am.
If we approve the workers' comp, request, the
Yes.
money, if we approve that allotment, then it'll just be set in our budget or in our CARES line until we receive their workers' comp bill, and then we'll pay it, or how are we doing that?
That's the way I would think it would be.
I think always the cleanest is that you pay the vendor.
just pay the vendor straight up. That's what I was thinking too. Once they get their bill, they just provide us the invoice and we just pay it. That way there's not transfer.
Well, the only question I would have about that is these are based on 2020.
Uh-huh,
So, I did exactly what they requested.
right.
So if
It
their
may not
invoice
match.
was, it may not match.
That's.
So we would be obligated to the amount that you're allocating today.
Right.
The cleanest way is always to pay the vendor.
So if it's something that they've already paid, then they just need to bring their invoice
Proof of
and then
payment.
we'll cut them a check.
Proof of payment.
Mhm.
We've done that before.
I wish we would have said that, so we could have moved forward with it. I just assumed that they showed their documentation that they had paid their workers.
Well, I think
comp
you
last
need,
year.
I think you need an invoice. It may
Yeah,
be on a
Sure.
financial
Oh,
statement.
That's all.
I don't know,
I'm
Linda
just
can
saying,
help me with that, but I would think,
is that the only thing that we need to go ahead and
I would say we
disperse
approve
this
it.
money?
I'd say we approve it to that amount that has been
Mhm.
presented, so that then they can bring their documents forward and
Mhm.
get paid.
it will not be paid until they have the proof.
Right,
of
Sure, I
payment.
understand
We need
that,
proof.
but I
But
just
if
wanna
you
wait
want
till-
to earmark 72,036, then you earmark it, but it's not paid, it'll be paid by check from the CARES
Right.
account.
Right. But my point was that we don't wait until we have another meeting and we look at it and say, yeah.
I don't think that was the point.
You know,
We wanted to
I think
make
they
sure
could
we
use
did.
it. They're
Yeah.
providing service
Yeah.
right now and I just don't.
No, we don't want to hold this up anymore. We've talked, we finally got the information we requested from them. We've already discussed it. And it was our intent to try to take care of them some way. And also the EMS advisory board, I mean, that was one of their, one of their recommendations, to pay the workers' comp. And everyone seemed to be of the opinion that was probably a good place to start to give them some relief.
So my next question is, it's the 72,036, that is just for 2021 workers' comp? Based on 2020?
Based on 2020.
2020, they can do
Yes.
with it as they
Yes.
wish. They probably are paying monthly or quarterly or whatever on their new one. So it's not necessarily, I think that to me was something to base a payment on, but that might not necessarily be what they pay with it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know.
I thought we were paying workers' comp.
No, we're paying workers' comp, because if we do this, we can't just say, here's X.
Well, the reason I'm asking is it's important if our desire is to pay workers' comp for this year and next year until something is set in motion to be able to have additional funds for EMS, is that we know what the number is. If we based it on 2020 and we came up with $72,036, then we need to know what the actual was for 2021 so that we can set that much aside, earmark it for the workers' comp for 2022, is my thought process. We want to make sure that it's set aside.
I just assumed that this was something we were doing this year as an early injection to give some help. And we're gonna base the contribution to the ambulances on the workers' comp from last year. Not that it is necessarily,
So what kind of accounting, what kind of
I
accounting?
don't know. Why don't you ask the advisory board? I've advocated as much as I can to get money into the EMS coffers to help them continue. It was suggested that it be the workers' comp from last year. We got those numbers. Now it's in front of us. Now we're gonna wait and we're gonna get the actual invoice or a copy of their workers'
I
comp
must have
bill.
just misunderstood and what you're saying is not something that I'm not agreeing with. I'm just saying, I thought we were actually paying the workers' comp for them. That was just for my.
No,
Basically,
when it
what
To
we're-
comes
help free up funds that they
Well,
can spend on
this
something
will
else.
still free up funds, because by giving this to them, this is gonna offset that amount from last year. And money's, we know money's fungible.
What do you mean it's gonna
You put-
offset that amount?
We're paying, what we're doing by doing this is reimbursing what, under last year's amount.
Right. Period.
Now, moving forward, they can use that money that they would have paid for workers' comp this year for something else.
I think
Okay,
the
to
2020,
this amount.
That's what I said.
I think the
I know.
2020 gives you a good benchmark,
Correct.
because when you do workers' compensation, after a year passes, you always have an audit.
Right.
Sometimes those things go up and
Well, in
down.
fact,
So
one
in
of the-
2020, they will have paid their workers' compensation.
Right.
So they can provide you that financial thing to say, hey, yeah, we did pay it, here's what we ended up paying, which is in their financial statements. It's hard to base it, I mean, you could budget for 21, but at the end of every year, you get that audit, so it may fluctuate a little bit. This would be something that they could provide you a proof of payment.
Right, because one of the, I forget which one it was, even had a fee in there for where they got audited. It said workers' comp audit, it was like $60-some, $64. I think.
Everybody
But
has.
that's the thing, but that, I think that was their intent, because we don't know what 2021 is
So
gonna be.
basically,
So holding off would be just a delay, which is not what we're.
Well, and I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this part correctly, because I still, okay, so in initial conversations, we were looking at allocating money that the association would distribute. However, they're not set up to do so correct
Right,
at this time.
right,
So we are dispersing money to individual EMS squads
right.
with proof of payment.
with proof of payment.
And they are eligible to accept.
Okay.
They always accept every year from you, so they're eligible to accept. What they do is they provide you their financial statements for this particular item. Since you are tying it to workers' compensation, all we're asking for is their proof of payment, like we do anyone, to share that with you, and that gives them the money that they had requested.
I think that we're all on the same page on that.
Except union, and union will be a contribution because they can provide us the workers' comp to verify the
Right.
number that they gave, but
But
you're going to give them a little bit extra.
That
Right, and that's-
$351 is
Right.
gonna be extra.
And that's what I'm asking. So in lieu of, we're doing this, we're not doing 3,000 per ambulance squad.
Correct.
Correct.
Not, we haven't
We haven't
discussed
discussed
that.
Haven't discussed that, that's something for later on.
Because if we were, then I would think we would just do the 2649. We're still giving the $3,000 as we have done historically.
Are you wanting that out of CARES, or are you wanting that out of your budget somewhere?
We've always budgeted it, correct?
But we don't have anything budgeted for them in your
Right.
general county.
So that's something we'll have to look at.
Now, you have some money, as I told you before, you have some money set aside in called severance. But in your budget this year, you funded no outside agencies, with the
Right.
exception of, I think that you gave a nod to one for
But
it.
we did do I am responding.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I keep saying that.
Always done, I
We've
am
always done
responding.
that, because that was the one thing we could afford to do.
And
We did I am responding, we did soil conservation, I believe you gave a nod to run for it,
Mhm.
and I think those were the only ones.
Right.
Okay,
The only part that I understood you say that it had to be spent specifically on workers' comp. And I
no,
think that,
we're giving them a reimbursement for their workers' compensation that they can get a proof of payment for the year 2020. That is a reimbursement
They can
for their
provide proof
workers'
they
comp.
get their check for what they paid for
Sure,
workers' comp to spend how they wish.
It's,
that was,
There you go.
that was
All
not
right.
clear
I
because you
think
said.
That's why I was saying, money is fun.
And that's what we said.
Exactly.
I make a motion to allocate $72,036 to Union Rolls at their check in the amount of that workers.
Second.
Motion in second to approve this CARES disbursement to EMS services. Commissioner.
Yes.
Commissioner Price.
Yes.
Yes.
Just a little confusion. We've got to get it worked out. We can't
No, I
leave things go
understand.
where it's all
No.
confused and
Yeah.
it's conversation is good and
Oh,
healthy
it's,
and
it's very good.
gotta work
It's just,
through it.
it's just that I'm defending. That's it.
All right,
I
now.
just want to make sure that there's not something that happens.
Now, do we want to go ahead and approve this request from Connie for the $138 additional? Can be done with
I
that.
make a motion that we allocate $130 to the assessor from the CARES fund for her laptop quote that has increased.
Second.
Commissioner Fuller, a second to add this extra $130. Commissioner Stone.
Yes.
Commissioner Price.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and by my map now, we have the amount that's not been requested for is $702,003.
I don't know, I didn't take off the hundred.
Oh, I just did.
Okay, I guess I throw this out, we're getting close to the end here, and I had we haven't discussed the fire department people and CARES money. I'd just like to have that conversation too.
I had seen some things rolling around with, and this has not really anything to do with the CARES funding and the fire departments, it has to do with fire departments, but I had seen something, and it was an article through Metro News, where the Kingwood Volunteer Fire Department, was awarded, I
It was in
believe,
the paper also.
a grant, was it a grant to help pay, firefighters for their services and hours that they're putting in?
Yes, in front of his paper.
Yeah. And to recruit,
But that is only Kingwood Fire
Right,
Department, that was
correct.
none of the other ones, so that is.
but they got the grant individually, so.
Right, so that's a plus, maybe that'll help them keep and retain their volunteers.
That's what everybody's after. And that's what I'm after. That's why I would like to, for us to have a serious discussion to make up our minds to decide on the amount for the fire departments and see if we can feel okay about that.
Do we have, I have rolled around with an idea in my, mind about what I want to allocate to fire departments, and I would probably feel pretty confident making a motion and moving forward, but what I'm not confident in is what we're gonna continue to do for EMS, and so I don't wanna overspend in one if we need a certain amount for the other. I think they kind of go hand in hand, and so,
Can I add just a point,
Please.
because you weren't here for this part of the discussion about for Parks and Rec and Friends and Chief, okay? So before because there's big amounts, and I just did the math for, I know we initially talked about $20,000 for each of the fire departments.
20, well, I was thinking 10.
Well, that's the last
Some-
amount I have.
maybe somebody else was
We
thinking 20.
bandied about different amounts, so, I mean, I'm just saying. But one of these things, from Friends of Chief was the first Trailhead project, and I'd like you to look at that one because they need $12,000 gas match, and this is $1 million project. So it's
Well,
like a big.
I had a
Okay.
in-length discussion with the
Good.
benefits are
Good.
concerning these, and
Awesome.
I recommended that she get on the agenda and come present to us today, so I
Good.
hated that I missed that part.
Yes.
But I knew that she was coming, and I told her that I would go on and
Because-
watch the video, just to see what their actual presentation looked like today.
Right. And that one to me jumps out right off, okay? Not that I'm saying what we should do one way or another, but to get, for
That
a
qualifies for
$12,000
ERP.
amount, to get $1 million project
Yeah.
going, that to me is a huge bang for the buck, you know what I mean?
You, don't forget, you have 2 vehicles requested, considering a part-time prosecutor.
Right.
The only thing before you today is items, you have an RDBIC. Also, these projects qualify for ARP.
Right.
One of the questions I had as I walked out today was the federal government has passed the infrastructure bill. Is there anything in the infrastructure bill that goes toward tourism? So,
I think that
As all these
ARP and these other things, I bet you qualify. I mean,
the tourism
Well-
definitely qualifies for ARP.
Yeah,
but
this
I-
definitely qualifies for ARP.
well, that's,
I think the hard part with some for the country to cheat and perhaps for the parks is if they're using it as match when those monies are
Right,
needed.
yeah.
But just perhaps I need to provide you a lengthy list of, and we haven't looked at the ARP request. I know you have further in the month, you're going to have others coming forward. So we did get an email from Denver saying, don't forget about our project.
Right,
So,
yeah, just to make it clear, we haven't allocated no money.
not for ARP.
For the ARP.
I think there's some confusion with,
Yeah,
there's
'cause people were
CARES money,
saying
there's
we paid for
ARP.
something
and
or whatever, we haven't paid for
golly,
anything.
there's many different funds.
Well, and now we have the infrastructure bill, which, is, something that, that may be another funding pool. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but just sometimes, it's hard to.
Well, there's just a lot going on, a lot of requests coming forward, a lot of opinions on which qualifies for what. money
And
and
that's
what
the
qual-
problem,
and
and
so,
what can be used for
me
matching, what can't
personally-
be used for matching and everything, it's.
Me personally, I would like to, I am for advocating, but I would like to just have a better grasp around exactly what we're looking at, like just a rough draft of what we're looking with. I mean, our code is getting smaller, the needs are not getting smaller.
Right.
So I just want to, so I was certainly glad to go ahead and get the money allocated, the first allotment to the EMS. But I don't want to be like, well, let's spend, and then when we have more EMS need,
I agree with
we
you.
can't find other
I
need,
agree.
or
Yeah.
another need.
I mean, I'm hoping that we can allocate that original amount that I talked about, at least 400, maybe more.
See, that's where I get stuck with go ahead and allocating other money,
Mhm.
is because I know your concern in your thought process and what you're wanting more for EMS. And so, like I said, it doesn't hurt for it to stay there, but we
Exactly.
do want to make sure where we're putting it is getting exactly where we need to put it, because there's a lot
Once
of.
it's gone, it's gone.
Once it's gone, it's gone. And right now, like I said, we've.
So what is
we
the
spent some-
timeline request? That's one thing I don't know off the top of my head from my conversations with Amanda. On her funding, what is the timeline as far as?
This one's the only pressing one.
The
first
second-
one.
The
Yeah.
$12,000 needs to be matching money that will be, I think it's for the first quarter of 2022. So that would be January, February, March.
Yeah.
That one's coming up really
Mhm.
fast.
Like for next week?
I'm saying they're gonna let that the first quarter, so I'm saying that they would need a commitment to be able to move forward with their application.
Yeah.
That's the way I understood it. Now, the other two projects that she mentioned, I did not see that was matching money.
Mhm.
It looked to me like that was contribution.
Correct. That's the way I
The
got it
only
too from
matching
reading this.
I
The only
saw-
matching was that one.
Now, the Parks and
That was the one
Recreation
that
have been on your radar
Mhm.
since July
Right.
with their projects, and she explained today that, there's no magic in each one of them. Any allocation would be appreciated. You could, give a lump sum to go toward more than one
Mhm.
project. It was at your discretion.
And those projects with Parks and Rec and even like this Cheat River Rail Trailhead where she's needing matching funds, that's something that we wouldn't even have to take from CARES or from the ARP money. That could be funding that could come from our beautification, correct?
Not enough money in there, though.
Oh, you have, you certainly have.
Enough to do the 10,000
Oh, yes, ma'am.
for Parks and Rec
I was gonna
and
say, I thought there was
12,000,
something.
yeah, that's what I was
Oh, yeah,
thinking.
okay, not for that whole thing.
Right, not
No,
the
no, no, no,
300.
not the whole,
But-
not the whole thing.
You also have in your budget, and I can get you a better handle on how your revenues are coming in full severance. You did allocate some money in coal severance for contributions to outside agencies. That is another area where you
Where we
pay
could pull that.
matching money.
Well, yeah, we could pull a little bit from here and a little bit
So,
from
perhaps
another
it
spot.
Perhaps it might be helpful if, at your next meeting, that we pull all the revenue streams, okay? All the revenue streams that you have potential of getting contributions from,
Okay.
okay? In General County, there is not. We never developed a Part 568. In coal severance, we did. You have beautification, that could be used for, you would probably need to do there's a section that you could do tourism, but hotel motel tax most definitely can be used for tourism. So,
That's what I was.
so
Yeah.
I can provide you a revenue stream so that you see how much money you have in each of the categories. And, of course, you, through your hotel motel tax, you do give to parks, you do give to the CDB on a regular basis. However, the arts and the beautification are stored money.
Well, and I believe I recall Commissioner Price being concerned about using beautification money and saving it for dilapidated building reasons, which I understand, but.
But we take it and then we obligate to take a problem building down, and then we promise to enforce it. And as we have the money, it says in there, there's not available, but it seems a shame I've been guarding that money. Kathy knows that, for the time when we did pass a dilapidated buildings thing. So, I guess to be clear, I'm always gonna when everybody starts to reach into that pot of money, I'm gonna be,
That money's always being added to, right?
Renewable resource.
Yeah.
Right.
So is the park and rec added to, because it's by a percentage,
That's correct.
and so is the,
The Parks and Recreation
CBB, yeah.
Commission was actually established by the county commission.
Yeah.
It was developed and established by the Preston
Mhm.
Commission.
I mean, I hope that with our new hotel and with things picking up and people traveling again, once gas prices go back down, then,
That's not gonna happen.
I think it would be helpful.
you know, I think that the hotel motel will pick back up a little bit, because it's
Well, and
pretty,
I mean, I think it has. I think it is, we're starting to see that.
a little bit of action.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's good, but, you know, I'm always defensive
I
of
do
my
have another
dilapidated
question.
buildings.
I do have another
That's all.
question. Since we passed the ordinance,
Mhm.
is there a plan for that committee to have a meeting?
They need to meet.
They need to meet and give their plan of action.
Yeah. That's what we can do
I
anyway.
think the first thing you need to do is set the
We've got some,
committee,
well, we have some appointments to make.
all the committee.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Let's see if we can do that next week. Because I know we have pretty much a plan. Some of it's spelled out on who it's gonna be, so.
Okay, so I would like to see, of course, we have CARES on the agenda, but I would like to see those revenue streams of which
Yes, I
we
would
have some
too.
availability of funds, to see if we can pull 12 and 10 from something else without using more CARES money. If it's already, we have the tax dollars to work with, and we were just being frugal because we were concerned with not knowing what was gonna happen.
We did, you
Yeah.
know, and
I
Well,
think
you've got to understand, this is a estimate and budget amount. You
Right.
don't know if you'll collect all the
Right.
revenue until
Right.
the end of the year, in the fiscal year. But in your budget, I will provide for you the revenues that you have budgeted and any allocations that have come out of it. And that will be, you have your CARES, but I'll update that for you because I have to put in Connie's and now this allocation.
Okay.
And we'll have that. I'll take out anything that has been paid for so that you know what, even though it's been allocated, that those things have been paid for.
Right.
And then, that'll give you a better look at all pots of money that you might want to look at as you give contributions.
And Dave, what is the next step for the committee? Because you sit on that, right? For the EMS, what's their next?
we have a meeting
Okay.
scheduled soon, so I don't know what,
Well,
Dr. Conley is kind of chairing that.
Okay,
He's
okay,
been a little bit out,
under the weather, so we
Yeah.
just need to.
so,
all right.
but he has never said anything about canceling our next meeting.
However, there is one thing that I just want to, in all the dialogue that I've sent before, the committee, and Commissioner Price is, that you're looking at a sustainable revenue. That is not for the committee, that is for the county commission.
Right.
I have done some work on that and can share that, you know, address numbers and some other county ordinances that provide the EMS fee. I'll gather that together and
And
send it to you.
how that is going to be organized, since the majority of ordinances have had a county connection on dispersing the money and everything. So it's just something that is gonna take some time to develop. So, saying that that's always been the dialogue. So, you know, when you wanna start collecting, how much you're talking about, all those things, the mechanism of how you would collect it all have to be, done.
Right.
Okay, anything else on CARES plan you want to discuss?
So I just want to make sure that we.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
moving
no.
along with things.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no reason, like I said, I'm in agreement with you, doing it step by step, and I appreciate the way you've got this on here, so we know how it's stepping down, keep an eye on it. I appreciate that very much. You have on your executive session, the legal matter.
Yes, sir, I need 5 minutes.
All right.
Make a motion to go into executive session on a legal matter.
Commissioner Stone,
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Mike, you might want to stick around for the work session. Since you're here, you never have a day off. They'd be interested in that.
Are we redistricting?
Yeah.
You go.
No, I'm just letting you get out of the way. Go
Could
ahead,
have gotten up before.
I'm glad this didn't.
because I was talking.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, for the average person, I was like, I don't know shit about this, and I realized no one does, because you only have to do, the average career, you only have to do over just. Maybe if you're,
I've been doing this once, so this is number 2 for me.
so unless you guys plan on working 30+ years, you're the last one.
Yeah.
I mean,
2, yeah, this is not for me.
yeah,
I am sure that don't want to be going to it again.
what, you don't wanna be working in 2031?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Come on back there, you. I love that girl. You don't love us enough. Not that much, Tony, I love you and all, but. Twenty comes clear to Bain. It was from the town, so 20's all in there, it's all 20. 20 and 14.
So what we're doing here is, these are currency registers, and these are your county officials who have the property. So it's kind of here.
Oh. Yes, that's what I'm about to.
So we've got to try to divide the population up evenly now. So we have, what is the population? Right here.
Right
there.
There's proof
You
that
know,
they're
but,
there.
I know, but we are happy. That's even too big for one precinct. So we know.
That's
I mean, I do.
So.
I don't know specifically what I should even be looking for.
Our contact and 1,200, so you're looking at 2,200 people there, just in town. But there's 1,400, so that's just all.
With all being in that one building, we have to kind of work on that, and just use cars. But see, the new delegate district line, right here, this red line. Is really, this is what the state changed. So, the old one, which was like 30 points, delegate district, then here, this black line right here, was what there. And the state does that. And the state did this. So we have a lot of changes. So we can't have this in here, and this side of the line, the other side of our building. So we have to do a lot of changes. So you follow the chances or drawing? Yeah, you're gonna fly the chances or
Why? I'm participating tomorrow.
find out first,
Yes, sir.
first.
I'm driving up, I'm gonna get to take my car back. And then, I think I get back like 3 in the afternoon on Monday.
Where do you go vote? Where do you go to vote?
So I'll be here right around Tuesday morning.
So you, none that may change.
Is next week on the
She'll
first
get her
tab?
out of her.
So-
The board is meeting Monday because.
Yeah, no, but I'm gonna do it. I think.
I know. I write it down.
Yeah, I wrote it down
Remember
too.
next week, the 10:30 one, or the
Or
9?
the 10.
I have it written on my calendar, but I.
I remember one of the next couple ones coming up, Kathy's scheduled for later, so I gotta.
Right here, before, he's right around.
All right, we'll find out at the end of the meeting when she tells us.
Yeah. Now, I tell you something, if she doesn't change, you can talk to her. I don't remember, because I wrote it down.
I love the corner of this parking lot with all the leaves on it, on the ground.
That changes every
The
time.
little hillside, the leaf line. It's very fall.
Right, because look here, this is why. Right here is your world pipe. Here's your 35, 37, okay? But you're on this side. If you're on this road, is a line. So that's where your determination.
So that line, those lines are on the there, that's in the Cape Road. These, we have to do all this by response. So all of them are-
So everybody on this side, actually, you're on this side, right, that's why. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, is that, I'm
35,
saying,
37, right there.
and Lori, and after Plains Ridge, and then down over to non-city salt.
And see, a person that is out there trading doesn't know that. Right up here, it's still coming, you know. I mean, the person is just looking at this as no area. They say, well, they should just know a good vote. Well,
I think it's on the 30th.
and say,
Okay.
it's a long way.
Thank you.
And the next one, that's all it takes.
Yes.
I have, someone else determines that. Because they see a road on here.
So we just got one more road.
I see what I can do.
Information on
I made the motion, Dave seconded.
New action taken at this time is information. Oh. Wait, no, here we go. Just before we start the miscellaneous conversation, everybody, just kind of remind everybody that we having veterans, the Vietnam veterans are having their Veterans Day memorial service on Thursday here at the courthouse. So, everybody-
What's the time on that?
It starts at 10:30.
Are they, refresh my memory, are they doing the bell?
Yes, they're ringing it up.
Okay, they're in charge
Oscar.
of the handle and stuff, so remember, tomorrow, there won't be staff here on
Right.
Thursday, so we'll need to make sure you have the handle.
Okay.
Maybe I need to get it today.
Maybe do.
Well, if you if you leave the office, I can pick it up out of the elevator and get in the office.
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
As long as it's somewhere we know where it's at.
I think actually Dawn is in charge of the bell.
Okay, then, it'll be in the office,
Okay.
If it's sitting there like you
It'll
said
be there.
before, sitting there by that
and please
desk,
return it to the office.
I will do that.
Thank you.
Or she'll ring your bell.
Dawn is the bell boy on Thursday.
Okay, it's fine.
Commissioner Sting, do you have anything for us before we start our work session?
Oh, by the way, sorry, I have no correspondence from the DOH
Okay.
or the CSX.
Oh, yeah, thank you
So I
for
will
that.
be emailing them today,
Yeah, because they were supposed to get back with us yesterday.
Yesterday.
That's
and
correct.
that's it came late last night.
I seriously doubt it, but.
I will CC you on my emails.
Commissioner Sting, do you have anything else?
I don't really have anything. I have just a little bit of information where I've had some correspondence, over the Aurora Pike, with the state level. I mean, they're not paying the bill for, their contract.
As well they should.
air construction or whichever it's called. They're not paying that, it's going to be fixed, and like I believe I said in a meeting previously, once it's fixed, I'm advocating that they overlay it in the spring with a top coat completely, to help to preserve, what they're fixing. That road is, heavily traveled, weathers up there is terrible, and you know as well as I do, in the condition it's in, when plow trucks and salt hit that, it's gonna just be a train wreck.
We have an Aurora Pike resident back here with us today. Samantha's been talking to the DOH, and we've gotten a lot of complaints, and you probably agree that it doesn't look like it should have.
It definitely needs that overcoat. I mean, you can drive out it. They come along, they put the pavement down, they rolled it. I mean, I've worked in construction for years. I don't know exactly what they call it, but they rolled it with a rubber tard roller, and then they come over with the steel roller.
Right.
And you can go out through there just every little bit and see places that the steel roller did not roll out the tracks of the other roller. And it, you know, you got to play, like she says, salt and stuff was in there, and it's gone. It definitely needs that top coat.
It does. Hopefully we can get those repairs done before winter, and then they can overlay it in the spring. You don't want them to overlay it now.
No.
When they put it down too cold, and that's why the edges clear out through there are breaking off, because the material was already cold when it was being laid.
Well, where that area that is broke up so bad there right now, they put it down. They had a beautiful day on Monday. Why they didn't start then, they waited for Tuesday and it rained. And I think they actually cut off for a while and then went back to it. And that's where the real problem is right now, where it's tearing up.
Anything else?
Go ahead, if I can think of it.
Okay. Dave, do you have anything for us?
I have a meeting on next Monday down at Weston as we continue discussions on how to approach a few things that we need to discuss in the legislative session. So the Board of County Commissioners Association is going to be meeting about those things. So, you know, there's a lot of discussion about needing the one, I got feedback from the town of Terra Alta, and they had implemented the 1% sales along with some of the other communities. And a figure thrown out to me yesterday was that they received their first check of $19,000. So that will help sustain the police department for one thing. And so I think it's pretty significant but they will not, the legislature has not made a provision to let the counties do it, only the municipalities. So that's one of the topics to be discussed, along with the jail bills that are going up. So that's all. I just have that coming up. I'll share what I learned from people who know.
Just to let everybody know, I'm gonna get on a webinar, a Zoom meeting tomorrow, and it's dealing with workforce. It's County Commissioner Association Local Workforce Development Board of Directors, and it's basically a pretty in-depth discussion about that blue ribbon task force that the governor established and everything. So that was one of the things we talked about a couple weeks ago, that they're actually gonna have a Zoom meeting about it tomorrow.
They're doing their thing on their own without the sunshine on their meetings.
Well, that was part of there's several different questions, and one of the questions that they want answered is, why are there no county commissioners, local board members, or local trade union representatives, or business leaders outside of the Charleston area on the task force?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a state task force, why is there no one?
I think they just got caught.
Anyway, so I'm doing that tomorrow.
One thing, Commissioner, just a reminder that we are changing the meeting next week from Tuesday to Wednesday at 9 a.m. Just so you all make note of that. The meeting is Tuesday and Wednesday. Also, we will have a comment period, I believe, on the redistricting that day. Also, just a note, your November 30th meeting will begin at 10:30. So there will be no work session on that particular date.
Okay, I did have something else to discuss. This evening, I have an Economic Development Authority meeting at 6 PM at the EDA office down in the plaza. We're continuing to work through things for the new website and the launch of all of that. So that's coming up. And then also, I was contacted by a citizen in the county concerned with the stray cat situation in the county. And I know in the past, there have been gifts given to help with, cats and different things. Animal shelter has services, there's different things. She was looking for a way to volunteer, to help, so who do I need to get her in contact with? Do you know?
She wants to help with a feral colony, or what's she wanting to help with? Why don't you just ask her to give me a call?
Okay.
And that way I can direct her better that way. I'm not sure exactly what she wants, how she wants to help.
I know, because like the Humane Society, they're having
There's
meetings,
the
they're having
Humane
meetings
Society
tonight, and they take
component,
care of
there-
feral colonies on some occasions and things like
I
that.
just think I need more direction.
I think you do, and I think she's just willing to step up and help any organization to help with some areas of the county, so. I think-
Well, that's a problem in a lot of, and it
Right.
comes up every year, so I'm glad that it's probably time to start. I hope the Humane Society does their thing.
They have that. They've actually done quite a bit as far as like the different things to try to get the feral colonies
Yeah.
spayed
I had
and
some
neutered
people
to
that
try to
are-
keep it from happening.
Something else that I have been working on, is a lot of the roads that the DOH is tar and chipping. They're, fixing it, making the road very nice, they're doing a good job on it. But the DOH requirements is not to put the fog seal on the tar and chip, and the fog seal completely seals the tar and chip and does not, and it's not dusty, and it keeps the little pea gravel in place better, than if it's not fog sealed. The requirement, if they contract out to a contractor, is that the contractor must fog seal it, but they don't go by that requirement. So that's one thing that I am working on, because I have received, the complaints, it's like ebbs and flows with, if it's really dry and then everything's a dusty mess, it'd be nice if you had a 10-minute shower every morning. The rain just a little bit, it would knock the dust out every day, but that's not the case, and it gets to where it's pretty bad, so. That is one other thing that I've been.
One last thing before we adjourn. On the 18th, they're having that legislative roundtable and everything down in Weston. Is anybody going to that or thinking about going to that? It's just for the day. Just for, it's only from 11 o'clock until 2:30. I didn't know if anybody was going to that. Okay.
Well, I probably was gonna decide after I go to this meeting to see what they're coming up with.
Is there a virtual option?
It doesn't have that. It just has.
It doesn't right now.
It doesn't.
But, we'll have this discussion as the board can decide, but it's being done by various counties in different parts of the state that are hosting these things, so.
We've
those-
hosted legislative meetings in the past.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were gonna have one up this way or not, because there's different people that are going down to Lewis County. I just wasn't sure if they're gonna have one closer or not. I hadn't seen anything, that's all I was kind of curious.
No, it's not the same as it has been, but I'll tell you, we've had them in Morgantown, Fairmont.
Well, yeah, we've had it here too.
Bridgeport.
It would be
Clarksburg.
nice if they would offer a virtual, option.
That would be nice. A lot of times the legislators aren't able to attend anyway, or
Exactly.
don't, and so that's the idea of that, is to have them
But
there.
if they had a virtual option, they might be much more.
Right, so, and so that's always been the problem, and I think that makes people say, well, I'm not gonna bother to go either, if
I was
they
just
don't.
curious, because I was thinking about going if no one else is gonna go.
Well, how about I'll let you know if there's nothing else that they know of up this way then.
Sounds good.
Dwayne will, reach out just as a reminder, there is,
1 o'clock.
something going on at 1 today where Mansion and Capito will be down in Emily.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's a
I put that on the
high-speed
calendar.
internet thing for, with USL. All right. That being said, we will adjourn this meeting and then go, in a couple minutes, we'll go into our work session.
What, is that today with Dwayne?
Yes.
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
Mansion, with Mansion and Capito?
Capita was
I just thought it was
tentative
Mansion.
from what Dwayne
Was it?
told me.
Okay.
When I talked to Dwayne yesterday afternoon, he said
Capita
Capita was tentative,
I said
but
12:30, but
I thought it was 12:32.
because I told him I really wanted to go, but I'll have